For the last decade, we've been traveling around the globe with world-renowned landscape photographer Elia Locardi, filming the Photographing the World series. In these photography tutorials, we usually visit the most well-known, iconic locations, and in many cases, they're overrun with photographers and tourists all trying to get the same shots. Last year, we traveled to Japan to film our newest chapter, but in between photographing Japan's most iconic photography locations, we filmed an entirely separate tutorial. We left the tour buses and gift shops behind, and we went out to discover something new.
These days it feels like a lot of photographers are just looking at social media and trying to get the exact same shot. If you want to create unique images that really stand out, this tutorial's for you. This tutorial really focuses on places and images that are off the beaten path. Some of these locations I'll be visiting for the very first time. These are beautiful statues covered in green moss. There's a temple in the background, fall colors all over the place. What's not to love about this spot? So really, this never happens in landscape photography, where what's in front of you is just as beautiful as what is behind you. There are so many areas in Japan where you don't encounter millions of tourists, where you have the place to yourself. It may seem strange that we're all alone. Such a beautiful place doesn't have a bunch of photographers, but there are a few reasons for that. This is kind of out of the way. It's not that people don't come here, it's that it's kind of a local spot where people pass through and shoot on the way to somewhere else. Throughout these lessons, I'm not just going to talk about scouting a location. We're going to talk about discovering one. Because a lot of the times when we arrive at a location, we may think something is really obvious, but the more time we spend there, the more hidden parts we find. You're not going to fight any other photographer for this spot. Check out my camera right now. Right in the middle of a highway. This is exactly the type of photography that I love. I just try to find something unique, something I haven't seen before, based on an idea. The shot's so cool, I had to do it. Some of these locations are so off the path and so quiet that we're really the only ones there. And when you have a location all to yourself and you have time to explore, often what happens is the shot you come away with is almost nothing like the shot you intended. I always feel like long exposure is a little bit more stressful because it's critical. A lot more can go wrong. You have less chances. 2-minute exposures take 2 minutes. But it is kind of nice when you see that clock tick down. It gives me a chance to just observe. Stand here and see this beautiful place and just enjoy. It's been a while since the last Photographing the World, and it's remarkable how fast technology progresses. That means the software has updated a little bit, my techniques. The enhancement itself looks really nice. So that's on top of the AI adjustments. This is an amplifier, and again, it's very conscious of your black and white point. So you can definitely destroy an image, but it's not going to blow anything out. These are great locations to experiment with different techniques in photography because we have time to do so. We can get the shots that we intend to, and then we can spend more time experimenting with different thoughts and different techniques. So when we got about 2 hours to sunset, instead of packing it up, I decided to kind of move around and take a look at these chains. So I put a wide angle lens on and just started to position myself in different areas, knowing that the light was going to shift. Then I just started playing with angles and compositions, chains and leading lines and following the sky. The sky's lighting up, I'd position myself and find some. And I really like these shots. It's not something that I would have seen and tried to recreate. It's something that I created in the moment. And I think you should plan time to just experiment.
This tutorial is 100% digital. You can buy it, instantly start streaming the video, and you'll get all of Elia's raw files for you to follow along. And everyone who's ever purchased any Photographing the World tutorial before has access to a secret Facebook group. In this group, you're going to be able to get advice from Elia himself, as well as thousands of other world-class photographers.
I think this is gonna work. I was able to get the car trail, the light trails are going through, I shifted up a few times. I think it'll all blend back together.
As always, this tutorial comes with its own behind-the-scenes series. You can see everything that we put into making this tutorial.
So I just fell in the water and my feet are soaking wet. This is nuts. We are getting the most incredible clouds. Now we're getting God rays, and I keep thinking, okay, we got the God rays. How lucky were we? And then they get better and better and better. Look at this. Look at this right now. What the heck?
This Photographing the World is really sentimental to me, not just because it's in Japan and I love photographing there, but the release of this Photographing the World marks the 10-year anniversary of when we first started filming these. Whether you've been following along the entire time or this is your first Photographing the World, thank you so much for supporting us.
Now, we've sold every Photographing the World for the exact same price for the last 10 years, but if you buy this tutorial today, we'll throw in any additional tutorial totally for free. But if you're interested and you don't want to spend any money at all, you can watch the first chapter totally for free. I had such an amazing time filming this tutorial, showing up to these incredible locations and being the only photographers there. And in many cases, we were the only people there. It was so special, and it reminded me why I got into photography in the first place. If you're interested in landscape and cityscape photography, and you want to know about the newest gear and the latest post-processing techniques, but you're specifically interested in creating unique images in new locations, this is the tutorial for you.